Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today is May 3rd, 2024. You're listening and watching the Daily Show live. And today it's like, wait, hold on. What did we just say about AI? Because this is our 2-week show where we stop every other Friday and we look back at 2 weeks worth of episodes. We talk about things that we thought we had a good time talking about on the shows. Sometimes we didn't get to everything. I would say most shows we don't get to everything we'd like to say, but we also don't want to produce hour and a half long shows, and we don't want to make Jyunmi sweat anymore as our production guru, going past a certain limit. So we try to cut it off, always waiting to hope you want more. So that's what we're here to do today. Now, we've talked about a ton in the last 2 weeks, and I always think it's fun to open up. Now, I will tell you, I have a surprise for you guys today. So we can do that first, or we can get into some of the things you guys want to talk about. What do you want to do? Do you want to hold it, or do you want to what do you want to do?
We'll run out of time if we get
there. No, tell us. But let's introduce who's here. We have Brian, who's gonna surprise us in just a couple of minutes. Jyunmi, I'm Beth, Karl, and Andy are in the panel today.
Thanks, Beth. I forgot to do that. I appreciate it. Well, let's do this. Let's jump into some of the things, because I know, even yesterday, we were talking about service as a software, and that was a great episode. Definitely go back and listen to yesterday's show. I finished that one. I was like, man, I love that topic. That was so much fun to talk about. And I know we didn't touch everything on that one. So since it's the most recent one and that was yesterday, did any of you guys feel like, oh man, we didn't even scratch the surface on this, or there's something I wanted to add to it?
Yes. So, I got almost depressed at the end of the show there, digging into the implications of software and AI being combined together in a way that actually can deliver services that replace functions within companies that are currently being performed by humans. And so this is outsourcing. There was a whole trend in the latter part of the 20th century of offshoring jobs in manufacturing to other countries. Well, service as a software is really the implication that AI will allow companies to contract with AI companies to perform functions that are currently being performed by humans. So today, in the analysis of the jobs report, there was an interesting fact that was put forward, which is that unemployment rates are higher now for knowledge workers than for manufacturing positions. So white-collar jobs are getting hit more now, the declining employment availability, as compared to skilled labor. And so the robots are working alongside people, and people are being drawn to manufacturing as skilled laborers, but the demand for higher paying knowledge work is flagging. So what is this being driven in part by decision-making within enterprises that, I don't need to put out advertisements for these jobs. My long-range sort of, recruiting and employment plan is about reducing these and replacing these functions with AI-driven services as software. So there you go.
Yeah.
The harbinger of doom comes forward on Friday on the recap show.
And Andy, could you argue, though, just to maybe put on a little bit of the brakes, that maybe because we have been seeing a lot of layoffs from major tech companies, and it isn't just purely AI, it's, there's the whole right sizing thing that a lot of people are still doing. Do you think it's economic conditions still? Because I'm a little skeptical that a lot of the same companies are now just turning to AI. Not
it's a little early to see the effect of that. There are much longer term trends that are underway. Like, for example, one of the problems with unemployment in skilled labor in white collar work is that for decades now, our academia has been focused on developing knowledge workers, right? Not skilled labor. So we have a surplus in effect. You have a pipeline of people who are looking for those positions, and there may be just a cap on the demand for that's not related to AI at all.
Yeah, I think my wife and I were just talking about this yesterday, and I was just sort of talking about AI as you do, and she was being polite and sitting on the couch and listening to me, as you do as married couples, you know.
That
But no, we were having a
qualifies
good.
it. My wife and I were talking about this.
Well, we were having a discussion. She was responding. It wasn't just a whole lot of no, we were talking about we talk a lot about my daughter being 13, you know, her future and stuff like that. And I said, you know, I was watching what it was I was watching a Sam Altman interview from Stanford, which we're going to talk about next week. Parts of that we're going to talk about next week in one of our shows. But in that, I was like, you know, I said to my wife Amanda, I said, you know, babe, what I think about the scene, or let's call it a meme from Braveheart, where Mel Gibson is standing there at the line and he's yelling, hold, and the troops are rushing at them, right? It's a great cinematic scene. And at the very last second, they pull up the stakes and they try to defeat the enemy and stuff like that. So the reason I mentioned that, though, is because I said, you know, not my daughter maybe, but kind of like, if I'm a kid, like I have a neighbor and she just finished her freshman year of college and she might want to actually go into medical. And so healthcare, so she may not fall into this category, but I almost would want to say to somebody, like, if they said, hey, I'm not quite sure what I want to go into, my answer would be kind of like, hold, like maybe go continue, like, I don't know, go into the military, go into Peace Corps, go be a bartender on a beach somewhere really sunny. Continue to get your education. I'm not saying don't do that. Almost like a gap year or two, because what I really want to say is, and Sam was sort of talking about this too, is like, I don't want to give away what we're going to talk about next week, but like every year and every year thereafter, there's going to be incremental, you know, or monumental, I guess, jumps in what can go on with AI. And unless my daughter said, and God bless her if she does, if she's like, I really want to be a plumber, I'd be like, that we can get you into, no problem. I had a kid who used to teach for me way back in the day. His name was Jesse. And he was like a CrossFit instructor, but he was like 16 at the time, but he was great. And he actually taught a couple classes for me. And he was going through his journeyman electrician course back in 16 in high school. There is no doubt in my mind, wherever Jesse is, he makes more than I do today. For sure. He never went to college. He went through his journeyman. He got in with an electrical place, probably did lots of attic grunt work and paid his dues. But now in his early 20s, which is where he would be now, or mid 20s, I guess, no doubt in my mind, he makes more than I do. And he did not have to go to college to do it. And so you talk about these long-term effects, Andy. I wonder if we're going to start seeing this. We're going to see more students who are like, I don't know, and I'm a little concerned on how AI may directly impact this after I go get this 4-year degree or whatever. Maybe I'm going to go into the trades. Maybe I'm going to at least get a trade. Maybe, I mean, go be a welder. Go figure it. You'll never be upset that you learned how to be a welder, in my book. Not for the next so many years. Go figure out how to do that as a trade. It's certainly not going to hurt you if you pivot down the road and say, well, what I really wanted to do is this, but I can make $100 an hour as a side welder on the weekends while I'm doing this other AI job that I wasn't sure about. So I don't know. As a parent, I think about this stuff nonstop, but I kind of feel like it goes into what you're seeing, Andy, is like, what are these long tail effects that we're going to see because of this, and how are businesses, not only businesses, but how are future workers thinking and shifting as teenagers about how they're going to approach the market in the future?
You know, I got friends in the ed tech space, and from what they told me, the number one concern, obviously, in higher education is AI, because it's turning upside down every single thing that they've been built on. Because from a pure education standpoint, yes, there are benefits of doing group projects. Yes, there's benefits of experienced people showing you, communicating with you their experience, or at the very least, the things that they've researched on. But one could argue, even with the lowest model that is trained on everything, how many billion parameters, I need you to act like a tenured professor at Harvard. Mm-hmm. You have decades of experience in whatever industry you want to go. Create me a lesson plan, and then you just go down that rabbit hole. If you want a full semester, I want you to create me a full semester lesson plan that I can take in the next 3 months with tests, with papers that I should write, blah, 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 create a GPT, whatever you want, pay $20, that's your education. So that is a fundamental shift to what and then the debt levels, which is then connected to the affordability of people being able to afford like single family homes or like just the homes without having to rent. Everything's all connected there too, right? So it's fascinating what this is doing, but I think it's still being slept on because there is still, I think I saw a couple weeks ago where there was an individual. I think there's these. I'm not sure if you researched this, Brian, because I think your daughter's definitely older than mine. You know, the people who help kids get into universities, the ones that help with SATs, the ones that help with whatever exams or whatever. I was like, well, can't you use Claude, Bing, Bard, ChatGPT to do that? Like, what does that person do that none of these things can do? But then the focus is still getting into university or college. It was like, but should it be? Like, there's trades that pay more. Maybe you don't want to go into trades, but I think maybe we've been, for the past 20, 30, 3 decades, we've been taught, hey, the most lucrative positions are right, but maybe it isn't. And there's going to be a reshift for that.
Yeah. No, listen, different. This would be, wait, what did we just talk about 4 months ago? Right. And I think, I'll get on a tangent. I won't here, but what I'll say is like the idea of paying 80,000, 100,000 for a college piece of paper to be in debt, potentially, assuming you don't have parents who have pre-thought about that and have the ability to do that for you, to go into that kind of debt and have that kind of uncertainty about where AI is going. And this isn't just me. I just listened to Sam Altman talk about this for 40 minutes at Stanford. You can go on YouTube and watch that the same thing I just watched. Maybe you'll have a different opinion, but I'm saying to our viewers, but this is not a Brian thing. I'm listening to the guy who knows more, or one of 7 people who know the most about what the future of AI is going to look at. And frankly, on Monday, we're going to be talking, the show topic is going to be, what is Sam Altman's new definition of AGI? Because that, like, he has a different way of looking at that. And we're going to talk about that on Monday's show. So that's sort of a, wait, what are we going to talk about? Not what did we just talk about? But either way, I agree with that. And I think, I think about it all the time as a parent. I think about it strategically all the time for my daughter. I also know that I didn't know what I wanted to be until I was well after college. I decided I wanted to be a firefighter, but that was 2 years after college. That was after I already got a degree in something that, by the way, geography, nobody in firefighting cares if you have a geography degree, right? So like, I pivoted. I know I did. I was lucky enough that my parents paid for my college. I walked away with 0 debt. I understand now as a father in my 40s how rare that is, but that was my situation. And so now you look at it and you go, okay, now we're in a time like no other. Sam was talking about that. Like, what would you think if you were 19? Because he went to Stanford. What would you think at 19? He'd like, I'd be so excited that I landed here at not Stanford, but in this moment that I got to be 19 at this point in history where things are changing so drastically. But the other side of that coin is things are changing so drastically. And what do you do? What do you do? What do you do if you're in your 40s? What if you do if you're 19? I don't have the answer to that, because we can only predict so far into the future.
This is an amazing
listening to the show.
Engage your imagination. Yes, keep listening to the show. Come back, everybody. We're also in this position. This is an amazing time to start engaging your imagination and your innovation abilities that may not have been appreciated in your current situation, right? The people who can imagine the future have some power potentially to help build it. And I recognize that if you're 19, that's probably a less risky experiment than if you're 40 and have 2 kids. Like that, I'm not sympathetic to the situation that all of us are in. But what seems to be true is that what has happened, this is the age of discontinuity. Alex Steffen, a consultant for climate change, talks about that we're in that situation for climate change, right? this is also the age of discontinuity in terms of work and what work is. So what is true is that what worked in the past probably won't and may not, right? Like go on wherever you want to be on that trajectory, work in the future. And so start looking at problems that you are having in your business now, in your work now. What are the tasks that you do? And imagine ways that could get better, right? Imagine ways that an AI could help that. Imagine ways that it could be sourced with some automation and some other things, because that gives you some power to change some things, I would say.
Beth, what kind of coffee did you have this morning? I want to get some of that.
Oh, that's Derek Adderall. Thanks, everybody.
I love you, Beth. You're the best.
Karl, would you like to Karl, do you have something you want to talk to us about?
Well, no. I just thought like we could spend hours and hours on this topic alone. I thought like, if we can pivot to one of the biggest news that happened yesterday. Yeah. And I don't even know if it's news because it's just being reported. And it has, to me, it's been bubbling for a lot of different reasons. It's the whole, search.chatgpt.com, where it seems like there's a lot of people on X, there's some articles written about it, that OpenAI will launch their search engine May 9th. We don't know what that actually means, what search.chatgpt.com is. Is it search, like just regular search that normal ChatGPT can do right now? Is it something bigger? We don't know. But I think the big thing is, I was looking at this this presentation. I think it's by it's on The Verge, and I just want to present it.
And Karl,
yes,
ChatGPT or OpenAI has not said a single thing about it,
no,
right?
We haven't said. And the funny thing is, we haven't seen a confirm or deny by any of the normal people on X that usually confirm or deny or have some sort of like cryptic anything. Nothing. So that in itself is interesting. So anyway, what I just wanted to show you here was this presentation by The Verge. For those who are not watching, it's I'll leave a link, but it says a real Google challenger. 61% of Gen Z and 53% of millennials reported that they're using AI tools in place of search engines like Google to find information about a topic. And then 63% of millennials and 52% of Gen Z currently trust the veracity of information that AI provides, compared to just 32% of boomers. And that is pretty big, because in what we talked about yesterday is we saw a search volume decline from another website. This one's called Stats Counter. We still need more numbers to validate it, but we saw a decline in Google search market share from 86 or 87 down to 77, which is a 10% decline in 1 month. That is a pretty significant decline. And then you have an increase in Bing. Does that mean ChatGPT, which is powered by Bing? And I don't even know how Yahoo is even in the conversation, but that's funny in its own thing. So that's why I was like, is the data really accurate? But it's interesting. So you have these two things. So we can see here from the search market perspective, this impacts marketing, this impacts business. There's something bubbling here, right? So you have Google going down, then you have OpenAI launching their search engine, then you have people report after report. So it isn't just The Verge, it's different reports saying that like different people, different groups, millennials, Gen Z, are decreasing their reliance on Google. And then you have the anecdotal evidence. It's like, can you trust the actual organic links once you find them? Because it's just littered with ads. So I feel that right now, when we talk about changing situations and upheaval, I feel the search market and marketing and how your business is really going to be found online is facing an upheaval. So I think there's a couple of dates we have to figure out. We keep an eye on. One is May 9th, when apparently this search engine launches. And I think it's May 14th when Google I/O shows up, because there's a lot of people in the search in the SEO world that thinks that SGE, Google's AI search, is going to be launched on May 14th. So I don't think that Google is just going to allow OpenAI, if they launch a search engine, to go unanswered on May 14th. So 2 dates, very excited. We're coming up, and it's part of the progress in AI.
I'm going to share a screen
comment quickly on just what we mean by search. I think of search as a different function than prompting LLMs to produce content generatively. What we play with when we're building sophisticated prompts and creating, huge documents, that's very different from finding something online. And so search, I think, for OpenAI, and the reason that it's being speculated is that there's a domain that OpenAI owns called search.chatgpt.com. And that's the evidence that we have. Mm-hmm. But there may be other insider, confirmations of this that's coming. And I believe it. I believe that they're going to do this. But I think they're just trying to open the gates to more people using it in this very limited way, using GPT, like GPT-4 in this limited way, which is just asking a question, just asking, placing a query. But that's very, very short-sighted in terms of, what they really should be promoting, which is the education of the public about what it is to really have an agent. So we're shifting to the search market when, in fact, what we should be talking about, which is really the major progression of AI at this point, is agency, assistance that can act on your behalf in the web environment.
So OpenAI's website, yes, Brian. OpenAI's website homepage is now literally askchatgpt.anything with a text entry bar.
Yeah,
it's wild that as Google has gone like super messy, we talked about this a little bit more, these other things are going back to the original Google. Just one thing, do one thing on the page.
Yeah. Oh, those were the good old days.
Listen, I'm gonna say it publicly right now. Here comes Ask Jeeves. Ask Jeeves is still a functioning website. I have it up on the screen right now. There's literally 90% white space. It says Ask Jeeves. There's a search bar, and then there's some terms of service. And it's a 2024 Ask Media Group. Listen, Ask Jeeves. Jeeves is going to be our future AI agent of search. I'm telling you, this is where the real news is.
You're joking, Brian, but how cool would it be is the Ask Jeeves folks just been building this AI agent quietly in the background the whole time. It's like, oh yeah, let's add that. Let's add that. And then big announcements go across, and then Ask Jeeves is like, oh, you want an agent? We got an agent for you. Boom. Jeeves is your personal valet. Your personal valet. It'll go out, find anything you want, do anything, whatever, accomplish your goal and come back. I think you're right, Brian. I think that would be fantastic. It's a great narrative. I want to write that story. Let's make it a movie.
Like Gary Vee, I just want to go on record. I'm just going to keep going on record with wild claims in the hopes that in 2 or 3 years, one of these pays dividends and comes back and is like, holy crap, Brian nailed it. None of us were looking at Ask Jeeves. Brian mentioned it on May 3rd, 2024, and man, nobody saw that coming. And I'll be like, this is what I do. This is who I am.
Good job. All right, was that your surprise?
Karl, no, that wasn't my surprise. No.
So on a slightly more serious note, Karl, you brought up search.chatgpt.com. Andy, you talked about search being a component of, autonomy or agency. So what's the equation here? Search, custom GPTs plus model plus something else equals AI agents?
It has to. And when we talk, like the all the things that we built in custom GPTs right now, and we make fun of the GPT store, and we make fun of like, oh, why would anyone watch any of these things? It's like, I don't think that was ever the point. I don't think the GPT store actually is like, yes, it could make the money, but really does it really need to? I think that is the foundation of what the agents that are coming out. So you need a GPT because you want the custom instruction of it is to do something. They need to create that first. So now imagine you and these GPTs can do search. Maybe they make it a little bit better, but then maybe they connect it to, your knowledge sources, but then they connect it to custom knowledge sources. So now it has information about your knowledge base, can search, and all it needs is a couple more updates for actions. And every single one of us now can build multiple agents to do multiple things. And
to be clear, it's already connected to your knowledge sources, meaning you can upload knowledge to it. Yeah. What you're talking about is it's connected to an external repository of knowledge, which would be great.
Yeah. So you can kind of see now like the building blocks, one piece at a time, right? One piece, here's GPTs connected to search, connected to your data, connected data warehouse, just more and more connection. And so what is the next step then? Higher reasoning, GPT-5, ability to do things on your behalf, agentic qualities. So it's not a leap. It's literally, you can see the roadmap right there in front of you.
Well, and the next, higher reasoning, but also multimodal, right? So that we can talk, so that one of the things that I say sometimes is like, Andy or Karl, you have thinking face, right? So like, I can see that you want to say something. So is it now with its vision able to say, hey, right? Like that seemed to hit you wrong. What, so that there's that kind of interface happening. Which I think one of the best uses of these things is to engage your own superpower, is so that you are helped in eliciting your own brilliance.
Well said.
By the way, Jimmy's thinking face is when one eyebrow goes up. When I see one eyebrow go up on Jyunmi, I'm like, cut the Jyunmi, so I kind of, it's I know something good is coming. Yesterday you did it, Jyunmi, and I thought, I don't know what he's about to say, but there's one eyebrow up. I'm in. I'm leaning in, whatever it is. All right. Are you guys ready? I feel like we've tension enough. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Because
Jen, are you ready? Yes. Let's do it.
Yes. Here's the thing. You guys know, we collectively, the seven of us, we came into this together. There's no hierarchy here, right? There's no one of us is better than the other, except maybe because what has happened is I've had companies reach out to me personally. I don't know why they didn't reach out to you guys. I don't, but they reach out to me and they're like, hey, Brian, we love what you're doing here on the show. And man, you really have your finger on the pulse of just everything that's coming with AI. And so when they have certain new AI features and functions and tools and stuff, they send it to me and they're like, listen, just give us your best review of this. Don't get ahead of me, Jyunmi. So here it is. And I want to introduce you. I have that on my desk here. We've heard a lot of news stories in the last week or whatever. I want to introduce to you Thumper. Now, Thumper is the newest AI device. It's a standalone device. And it's very smart. And I want to give you a quick live demo. This is not a curated video. This is a quick live demo of just what Thumper can do. So if you'll stick with me for just a second here, I'm gonna let me boot it up here. Don't get out of me. All right. So excuse me while I ask Thumper a question here. Hey, Thumper, what can you tell me about the Rabbit R1 that recently came out?
thinking.
The Rabbit R1, huh? Fast, sleek, and hopping into the market with some fancy tech.
Okay.
But let's be honest, it's called a rabbit. How serious can we take a device that shares a name with a fluffy animal? Now, if you need something with a bit more thump, you know where to look.
Thank you, Thumper. This is another question that's really tripped up just about every other AI device that we've seen come out from the human AI pin. Can you just tell me the weather in Tampa for today? This is hard thinking here.
Oh, let me look outside. Just kidding. I'll check that for you. Hang on.
Oh.
Put it closer to your mic.
I'm trying. It's sorry, it's low.
Today in Tampa, Florida, the weather is looking sunny with a high near 93 degrees Fahrenheit. There's a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms later in the afternoon, around 10%. Mostly clear skies with just a hint of possible excitement.
Listen, that's excellent, Thumper. You've already surpassed some of the other devices. Hey, I sent you a video.
You're welcome. Anytime you need another slice of info, just give me a shout.
Thank you, Thumper. Can you tell me what I sent you the picture of? Because I don't know what's in that image. Can you tell me what that was?
Thump, thump, thump. You sent a picture of a travel mug featuring the Sons of Italy pizza from Athens, Georgia.
Oh.
Their pizza and delivery service. Perfect for sipping something hot while reminiscing about some tasty pizza, maybe?
All right, we'll end it there. So listen, Thumper, it's not available yet. It's the newest and latest and greatest of AI devices. It's not very small. It doesn't fit neatly in your hand, but like the Rabbit R1, what I like here is that it stands out. If you see Thumper out in the wild, you know that's a Thumper. Now it has some other features that I can't get into now, proprietary stuff. But yeah, that's my news for today, guys. And I'm sorry they sent it to me. I'm sorry that Thumper sent it to me and not you guys, but I wanted to share it today on the show.
So I would like to engage our entire community to reach out to the DAS crew, reach out to the dailyaishow, and courtesy of Brian, and tell us how much you want Thumper in your hands, because we will make sure that enough are manufactured, and Brian will personally send them to you to make sure that that product is made.
The DAS crew will sign it for you. We'll wrap, and listen, I know you're thinking too, like, Brian, this seems too good to be true. How much does it cost? And this is where I'm going to shock you guys. $49.
That's amazing.
Ooh.
$49.
That's amazing. That's incredible.
AI device that does everything you just heard me do, has a camera, has vision, has all of it.
$49. Brain not included.
That's amazing. That's unbelievable, Brian. That's an unbelievable price.
Some would say, but we've seen what's come out in the AI market. And I think, me proving this with a live show, which, look, nobody else does a live demo before you get your hands on it. Nobody. They want to fluff it, right? No pun intended, but they want to fluff it up, but not Thumper. When Thumper says it can do it, it can do it. Now, it does have some locked features. I can't really talk about them now. There's a vibration mode that's just but it's an adult lock, and you have to have adult pins to get it in or whatever. I don't want to get into it. It's extra features. I don't know if the Rabbit has it, but they haven't talked about it. Jen says she did the conversion for us. Thank you, Jen. That's only $67.04 in Canadian. Thank you, Jen. So $49
not available in Canada.
Okay, Brian, I have some questions for you.
Oh, please.
Now,
please.
Thumper appears on the surface to be appealing to children, but may in fact have been targeted toward the furry market. So I'm concerned about, the ethics of this particular product launch that you're proposing.
I mean, no comment on where they found me or why they decided to. Why was the perfect spokesman for said Thumper. Thank you. Any other questions? Beth, anybody? Any other questions?
Who can follow that?
Yeah, who can follow that? That's insane.
I've been thinking about this way too much and making myself laugh for at least the last 3 days.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about this.
Is this a segment that you're going to show to Jake? That's the question.
No. This is just believe it or not, this is just for my amusement and making myself laugh. I'm glad you guys thought it was funny. I will probably make a LinkedIn video about it as well, showing all the amazing features of Thumper. But I think we're onto something here. And look, they asked me if we'd be willing to invest. I think this is a slam dunk. So if you guys want to get, or any of our audience wants to get with me off the show and just ask, how much money can I give, Brian, to invest in Thumper? I will give you a number. In fact, it's probably whatever you're thinking. It's probably twice that, but then that's the number for sure. So whatever you're thinking, I think that's a solid investment. Jyunmi has set up an account for the Daily Eye Show, and I think no problem us getting this set up, right, Jyunmi? I think this is a
definitely. You'll notice that at the end of the stream, we'll have a link to the.
Okay, you guys are joking, but this is like real product. Good idea.
And for every Thumper that you buy, there's going to be an Easter egg in there. That's one of the secret features that you don't realize you're getting until it reveals itself. So
that's right. Yeah, preloaded, by the way. Preloaded. All you have to do is go to a proprietary app called YouTube or Spotify, and it comes preloaded. Wait for this, with every single daily AI show up to today. All 195 of them already there. All you have to do is a simple couple boop boop boops here. Thumper says thump thump thump. And then you just say which episode you want to listen to, and it does it.
But Thumper's has friends, right? Thumper has I don't know, like Count Chocula. There are friends.
There are some models that are in design right now, but we've got project codename Bambi. We have project named Godzilla. So they're all coming down the line, and everyone can own their own Thumper, Bambi, Godzilla, or whoever.
And if you have a custom idea, if you have the Thumper of your dreams, reach out. That's a higher price point, but we'd be delighted to talk to you about making your dreams come true.
It's true. We've already made design deals with some of the best designers out there. Design company like Hermes. There's a Thumper fragrance coming out from Chanel. This is going to be a huge cross promotional product here, and it's going to touch point on everybody's lives.
Yeah, and if you can't afford the $49, then we have some merch for you for $20. You can get a picture of Thumper on a T-shirt. So join the crowd.
Listen, I'm so glad to hear you guys are on top of this and you are supporting of this. Here's the thing. I thought you'd be mad that they sent it to me first and they didn't include you. I was worried. They were going to be like, whoa. Is Brian getting too big for this show? Is he somehow surpassing us in AI amazingness? What about us? I talk on the show. Just because he does the intro at the beginning, I don't think that's fair. I really felt like there was going to be some pushback. But no, you guys have been amazing. And I think that's awesome that you're so supportive of this idea. Listen, AI Thumper coming to some website soon.
My goodness.
And Jen says she'd buy the shirt, but only if it has Jyunmi's reaction on it. All right. Do we have any other things we want to talk about from the last 2 weeks before we wrap it up? Because we're pretty much on time.
I want to mention that the second annual AI Film Fest happened on the 1st. That relates to our Will AI Win an Academy Award within the next 7 years. And what the main takeaway seemed to be, there was more live action mixed in with animation, which was one of the topics that we talked about. Like, would that be part of how that sort of thing would be realized? And so that is on its way.
Oh, I just wanted to add one more thing in terms of I'm gonna put a link in the show as well. It's the first, I believe, the first music video done by Sora.
Yes.
As Brian called it, what did you call it? MTV, the very first days.
It's the MTV in the 80s all over again, like the dawn of videos. It reminded me of that for sure.
So it's in the LinkedIn comment section. It's called Washed Out, the hardest part. You can probably find it on Vimeo. I think that's where they put it. Definitely worth a watch. It's very interesting to see where AI music is going.
And I wanted to really quickly talk about fish, but we don't have the time. But just to know, there's a company called Shinkei, and they're doing fantastic things for the fishing industry. And so you're going to waste less fish, and it's going to taste better. All right, cool.
Hey, next week, like I said, on Monday, we're going to talk about Sam Altman's new AGI prediction. Make sure you come back for that on Tuesday. Don't sleep on China. China is secretly, not secretly, during the night, it seems like dropping new features and functions. They just dropped something that looks like a Sora type video producer, but they also are doing amazing things in robotics and other AI areas. So we're talking about China on Tuesday. Wednesday is the news. Thursday, we're going to be talking about something that Reka.ai put out, which is like they have a evaluation prompts that they did. It's really, really interesting. So we're going to talk both about Reka as well as like the prompts that they created for evaluation. I think that's super interesting. And Friday is our 200th show. And so we'll be doing a fun show, kind of like this one, where we just kind of kick back a little bit. There's no one particular topic. We're going to talk about some of our favorite episodes over the last 1 to 200 of them. Which ones have performed the best? We have some data to share with you. You might be surprised. So make sure you come back all next week to check that out. And I am sure Thumper will make a return visit at some point. So hold on for that as well. That's it for this week, guys. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of great conversations this week. Go back and listen to some of the episodes if you missed them. And we will see you guys next week. Until then, bye.
Oh.